right, welcome to the fourth game, second review, last thing on the docket for the evening. Up this time is Zzoom. I'm guessing there's extra emphasis on the beginning because there's two Z's here. So it's like Zzoom. But, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Because, you know, this is not how you spell Zoom normally. At any rate, what is Zzoom? It is a first-person rail shooter originally released in 1983 for the ZX Spectrum by Imagine. I think this might be the first game we've covered from Imagine, which they're an interesting company in the early history of British microcomputers, let's say. There's a whole ass story there that we do not have the time or inclination to get into right now. But anyway, you take on the role of the pilot of the high-tech ground skimmer, fighting to protect the lives of escaping refugees from waves of ruthless enemies. No idea where the refugees are from or who the enemies are. Not sure if that's elaborated in like the original materials, but according to the modern marketing materials here, they are just the refugees escaping the country from the bad guys. That's how generic we're getting here. Anyway, so that's what the game is. So how does it play? Surprisingly well. Like, I gotta admit, I was
considering it's ancient.
Yeah, I mean it's a 1983 ZX Spectrum game.
It's older than me.
Yeah, and this is the second old ass game we're reviewing tonight. And if you've seen a lot of our reviews of these kind of games, you know we don't find that they have aged particularly well. In this case, we got one of the exceptions. I will say up front, it doesn't play amazingly, at least not in modern terms. For 1983, this is shockingly good. It's shockingly smooth, especially for something for the specky. I suppose it helps that it's like a first-person rail shooter thing. Like pseudo flight game, which is something that is definitely more amiable to a 8-bit home computer than, say, a platforming game. But this could also be, a talent or programming disposition as well. But, and it is, the premise is as simple as the bullet points would suggest. You've got to, it's Defender-ish in its goals. Maybe not as elaborate in its enemy designs, at least initially. Because Petty is going through the first waves. This is the easy stuff. Because the enemy here is airborne. Things start getting tricky on the second notch of enemies, because that's when they introduce the motorcycles and the missiles. The missiles is specifically why I wanted you to rebind your keys, because the bullet or lasers or whatever the fuck you're firing, and the missiles are different weapons. And fighting against the motorcycles, that's when you get the missiles and you are supposed to use those against the motorcycles. Dealing with the motorcycles is a lot more different because they're land-based. I know that's weird to say, given, in general, like, in real life, it's harder to hit the flying objects versus the land-based objects. But it's because the motorcycles are closer to the ground, they're closer to the refugees. And you can totally shoot the refugees. So it's a lot harder to defend the refugees once we start getting to the land and presumably the sea. The next wave is subs. I didn't get that far. Because the stratagems do change. I will give it that. But it doesn't change a huge amount. And you get you get a surprising amount of help as well. Like, that's another way you can tell that this was born on like a computer or a console versus an arcade, because you can take a lot of hits. Like, you got the shield indicator right in the center, which drains gradually. If this were an arcade game, that would be like at most like 3 hits or something, or just 1 hit. We're talking 1983, honestly. So it's more forgiving than if this were born from the arcades. Like, I know how arcade games work. They want you to pump the quarters in regularly. So they gotta make it very challenging. You gotta be the glass cannon. Computer game, even in like 1983, like, all the costs are up front. After you pay your 4, 6, or however many quid it is. And this game is supposed to last you a while. Maybe not maybe not months and months, but still longer than an arcade game. So that this is a good lesson on the subtler aspects of game design. Also, free tip. I don't think I mentioned this in the actual recording, but I did relay this to Petty before the broadcast. That's being kept. Don't swivel down too far, or you will crash and die instantly. That is a bit of a dick move, because you're not initially thinking that you're gonna crash, but you totally will. So the enemy will fire at you with the yellow bullets and the red. You can destroy those, provided you are skilled enough. And you, in the mold of Defender, you also do have the altimeter on the right-hand side where you can see all the enemies and the refugees. Like, that is pure Defender right there. And I will say this game, is neither as good as Defender, but it is also not as challenging as Defender. Once again, like, Defender is an arcade game, and that was designed to eat your quarters. Yeah, overall, it's not a spectacular game, but this is still a solid experience in terms of gameplay. Just play without the sound. It's got those ear-splitting specky noises. Petty, you've been playing the game. Anything additional you want to add to the commentary here?
The beeps will haunt your dreams for the rest of your life.
Not a fan of the bleeps and the bloops, eh?
Nah.
Yeah, I was neither. But that's par for the course for the.
I mean, this game was released before they invented computers having good sound outputs.
At least on the Spectrum, like C64 could do it, but we're not talking about the C64 here.
Honestly, the game's fine.
Yeah, which is hitting above par when it comes to the over of Pixel Games UK. Look, we are being honest here. Like we've given more misses than hits to Pixel Games UK so far, or at least the games that they've unearthed. With that in mind, I think that'll about do it for not just this installment, not just this review, but this installment of the Fragments Silicon reviews. So, coming up on the week ahead, let's see if I can get to the right page. Right. So, on Wednesday, June 28th, we'll be having Let's Play Heaven's Vault Part 20. So the guest scheduled is the same guest that we were supposed to have a couple of months ago, who's currently in some legal limbo. And
that doesn't sound good.
No. I have been told by them that they are currently engaged in the final paperwork, and this should be done by July/August. We are trying again at the end of August. But I'm a bit dubious since they assured me that this would be cleared up by June. But I was dubious about that because, legal proceedings. We do have a new episode of Moonhawk Studios Presents happening that day as well. And on Friday, June 30th, we'll be having Allison Long of Changing Day Limited on program. So, yes, we do have a Friday show this week. Or at least we should. Allison has yet to properly confirm. Hopefully that will change in the next few days. So until next time, I shall wish you good gaming.